Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. This is your brother Asif Hussain here on another drive time vlog. This time you're catching me in the early morning. So you're catching me during the school runs heading out to work, not driving back from work. So this is a different kind of time of the day. Inshallah, it might bring about a different type of discussion and vlog. So today's vlog is something a bit more heavier, a bit more serious. Interesting. I've been thinking about this lately, and I had a discussion last night with somebody, and it's interesting how we as a Muslim community have this vision of Islam. It's interesting how we view Islam and its position within society. We've kind of resigned to that reality that Islam is something for us that, you know, can fit in and should conform or should kind of have some kind of place within the current societies that we're living in. And this is in light of all the contrary and conflicting and contradictory kind of ideas and values that are represented in other beliefs and other ideas. Particularly, we're talking about secularism here. Secularism is an idea that separates religion from state affairs. So, you know, God has no place to govern or to sort of like express an opinion or a view in the public kind of domain, i.e. in governance and ruling. Hence, you know, religion becomes something that is purely a private matter that remains in the confines of your home, doesn't come out and spill into society or influence any views and thoughts and ideas in society. So this is the reality of secularism, and this is what I'm talking about when I talk about that we have resigned to accept Islam within the confines of the societies that we live in. And now we have to understand first and foremost how Islam came to us, how this message was delivered, and what was the vision for this message, and how Islam was packaged to be delivered to mankind. It wasn't in the format that we see today, as we all know. That is the reality. We all know that Islam came and ruled over 2/3 of the world. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he came with the message, he understood the heftiness, the heaviness of this message, that it wouldn't be something that would just be complacent with, you know, having a few worshippers worshipping, you know, praying 5 times a day and fasting in Ramadan and, you know, doing the Hajj on an annual basis. Rasulullah knew that this wasn't the case, and the Quraysh, they were very familiar with what the message was. They understood that this declaration of belief would change the political status quo within their societies, within their hierarchy. It would abolish all of their ideas and all of their statuses and all of their positions. And for many of the Arabs, they weren't accepting of this. The leadership obviously knew that this ideology, this idea, had come to govern over their systems and take over their systems. And that's why, one of the reasons why we find today that Islam is in conflict with modern day secular values, secular beliefs, you know, whether it be, you know, freedoms, whether it be, you know, the LGBTQ position, whether it be the policies that they have and the governance system that they have, you know, whatever it be, Islam has a conflicting view. And for those Muslims that are ideologically aware, they understand, you know, how we should view society and how what our position is in society. So it's difficult when a Muslim thinks or becomes politically integrated within the fabric of the secular system. So when you start to engage in politics and you get involved in the political system, you don't realize that they're robbing you of your political system. They are giving you an alternative political system to, you know, make it part and parcel of your belief system. i.e. that, yeah, you resign Islam to merely becoming a form of ritualistic practices, become something that you do within the masjid, that you do within your home. It's a personal belief. It's my belief, I practice that, you have your belief and you practice yours. It becomes that kind of mindset, and this is not the way the Messenger Muhammad ﷺ sent this message. And we need to go back to the Sunnah to understand the holisticness of this deen and how it was projected to mankind. So by us engaging and assimilating ourselves within the political fabric of this society, what we're doing is we are removing that element of Islam. We are stripping that element of Islam away, and we're saying that we have accepted and we have resigned to the fact that Islam for us is merely a spiritual practice, nothing else. It doesn't have any political kind of system there, and we have now embraced the doctrine of a capitalist system of democracy. We have embraced that, and we have accepted that as a governance system over the system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's, brother, that in its crux is what we are saying by voting. I don't want this discussion to become around voting, but my point is to emphasize of what our actions mean in the context of what we are, what we represent, and what we believe. We say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the legislator, He is the lawmaker, and we all agree to that because we recite the 99 names of Allah, and we more than often will recite this word. But our actions are not saying that, because our actions are saying, vote for so and so, vote for so and so. Let's be pragmatic. Let's be practical. Let's address our affairs. Let's take care of our affairs, because we have issues in society. We need to address these issues. And how else are we going to do this if we don't have somebody representing us in the political system? Yes, okay, I get that argument, but what you are losing in that process is far, far more than what you are gaining. In reality, if you have an issue that needs to be addressed in society and you want your needs being addressed, you don't have to be part and parcel of the political system. You have a right as a citizen of the state to have your needs addressed. As an individual, you can go to the state, you can address this. You don't have to go. This is like the reality of the Muslims when they did the hijrah to Abyssinia, and you had the Muslims living under the Negus there. The Muslims there, they were living in a non-Islamic society, but as subjects of that state, they were protected by the laws of the state. Now, becoming part and parcel of that fabric of that state, so you're representing, you're a representative in that state, in that governance system, that system that is not from Allah. This is a problem. This is the issue, because as a Muslim, this is where we are not supposed to. We're not supposed to be, working at that level. Rather, we should be working to bring back our political system. Now, people can argue that and say, well, you're living in the UK, blah, 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 and, you're not going to establish Islamic law here, etc., etc. Let's understand one thing, guys. When we talk about this, we're talking about it from an ideological point of view. It's an understanding and it's a perspective. Establishing Islamic rule in this state, in this society, is nonsensical and non-practical. This is not the reality of this society. That's not the intention. Rather, our intention should be in this nation, in this state, is to build the understanding of the Muslims, to make them understand their position and their status within the deen, to understand comprehensively what Islam expects from them and how Islam should be viewed from them. I mean, don't take my quotes, don't take what I'm saying literally and think, oh, this guy thinks he knows it all, blah, 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 blah. Look at the reality. Look at history. Look at the way Islam spread. Look at the way Islam grew. It wasn't under a secular system. Islam wasn't, divided from a state and religion. There were no separation of that idea. Where does this idea come from? not come from Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You know, it came from the struggle in Europe between the intellectuals, so-called intellectuals, academics, and the religious authority of that time. And this we're talking about the Christian authority. And through this, you know, a compromise was made. Hence, you had the birth of secularism. So this was something that, you know, didn't come from Islam. You know, we know throughout the history of Islam that, you know, the Khalifa of the Muslims, he was the leader of the Muslims, the political leader and the spiritual leader. Yeah, so we know that ideology was unified in one thought, one idea, which is Islam. But today, obviously, we don't have that manifested, and today you've got many Muslims that again, I use the word retire to that acceptance and say, look guys, we're in this situation, we're here, we've settled down, and we need to work with these people, and we need to work in the system, and we need to, you know, establish our own kind of place here, and get our own, you know, halal food and our madrasas and what have you established, and, you know, and I get all that. I understand the sincerity of these people that have done that, and alhamdulillah, you know, as a Muslim community, we have a presence in this state, in this country, which is good, and we should be proactive as a Muslim community. We need to, you know, be very socially active and be in those places that we need to be. But in hindsight, is how we go about doing these things, is how we establish this position for ourselves. We don't need to operate within a system to achieve such goals. You know, look at our predecessors. Look at the first generation of Muslims that came in this country here. They established mosques, they established halal institutions, shops, what have you, and they addressed these needs. They didn't have members of parliament, they didn't have councillors, what have you, but you know what? They took the ownership and they made it happen. So my point is that practically a lot of things can be achieved. Okay, whether you go to your local, you know, council, what have you, and you ask for permission for your religious rights, that can happen. But what you're finding is more and more Muslims that are engaged in the political system, the reality is that they are the ones that are furthest from the deen, and they do not represent our deen, and as a result of them entering this politics, they have had to compromise on a lot of their Islamic beliefs, and they have had to accept a lot of the beliefs of secularism. And you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to shout it out. It's quite obvious. A lot of things in this state, in this society, in this ideology, we as Muslims cannot accept. We cannot agree with. You know, I was having a conversation with somebody last night about the whole LGBTQ position, and this individual is in a position of kind of authority and, you know, representing these ideas. You know, he said himself that, you know, we as Muslims, we cannot accept this and agree with this. You know, I cannot push this within our communities. That, you know, it'll be thrown out. And this is the reality. The Muslim community will not accept certain things, and you cannot, you know, we cannot and we will not accept certain, you know, value systems that come from the West, because they're not from our deen. We will not compromise Islam for anything. And that's the key thing, brothers and sisters, because when you start to engage, and the more senior you get within the state and within the political system, you have to remove a lot of your value systems and ideals. If you are Islamically minded, by the time you get into any position of authority, you will, you know, be a very stripped down version of Islam, and that's something that you got to ask yourself: is that the vision that you have for this Muslim community? You know, do you want a Muslim community that embraces the LGBTQ reality? You know, same gender marriages. You know, on and on and on we can go. And you know, if you look at the value system that this society has, they don't have no moral compass. You know, they don't use halal and haram as a moral compass. So we cannot share this platform with them. It's very dangerous. So the reality is, and it reminds me of one of the books that I've come across by Samuel Huntington called The Clash of Civilizations, and it highlights the struggle that the West will have with Islam, because, you know, and the book that I'm currently reading, you know, the secret affairs, the collisions of Britain with the Muslim world, with radicalization, and we can see how you know, the British have overtly and covertly, you know, cunningly, you know, had various operations within the Muslim world, to change the fabric and to influence change through, sponsoring certain agents and what have you. And this is the reality living in this society. You're going to have agents that are going to represent the British, and they're going to be amongst our communities, and they're going to promote their ideas. And I think we're in a good position, alhamdulillah, that many Muslims can see what is right and what is wrong. I'm going to stop there, brothers, because it's brothers and sisters, 15 minutes gone now and I'm still going on. So I hope you understand my point. I hope this message is clear. If you have any thoughts and views, please share them. Please comment down below. So this was my morning drive-through or drive time. Your brother Asif Hussain signing out. Assalamu alaikum.